So we've got a poll question out right now, our daily poll question here on Burns and Gambo. What was the thing that concerned you the most about yesterday's win? And while we all acknowledge it's great to be 2-0, and it's certainly better this way than it is any other way, Gambo and I very quickly and in almost perfect synchronicity answered the question at exactly the same way, the same time. The run game. The run game is the thing that right now today, if you're going to ask me why is this offense not functioning in a way, especially in the second halves of these games, that would allow them to be a little more comfortable with these wins, it's the first thing I would point to. They're just not running the ball the way they did last year.
I would even say the running game was non-existent. I mean, Connor was held to less than 40 yards rushing. Back-to-back games, first time since he came over here with Gannon. First time he's ever done that. He had 11 carries for 34 yards, Bernsey. That's an average of 3.1 yards per carry. He did have the touchdown when they had all the tight ends in the game. When they went, what was it, 17 personnel in that one?
That's illegal.
I know.
That's illegal.
It's illegal. Can't do that.
It's illegal.
But they had Beecham as a tight end in that one. They had McBride.
They went jumbo. Let's say that was just a very jumbo package they went with that.
John Gaines was your fullback. So that was Trey Benson, 3 carries for 14 yards. Now, when you're only running 48 plays, because your defense can't get off the field in the second half. I mean, it's almost just like one half of football, or a little bit more. Like the offense was barely on the field in the second half at all. They had a drive, they had an interception, then they had a 3 and out, and it's basically it. But only 3 carries for Trey Benson. And James Conner, like 40 yards, 34 yards rushing on 11 carries. So, yes, you want to dig more into that. You want to get that going. Because let's for all intent and purposes, you could survive Marvin Harrison Jr. having 4 catches a game or Michael Wilson not being a gigantic impact. As long as Trey McBride and the running game get going, you're fine. You can win. Mm-hmm. You can win. If the running game never gets going, you're not going far in this league. Mm-hmm. You're not going very far.
Not this team, not the way they're built. They're not going to go very far at all.
They have to be more successful in a running game. So it's very disappointing to watch them struggle the way they did yesterday.
I don't mean to take out the number stick and beat everybody over the head with it, so I'll try to keep it nice and simple. Take out Trey Benson's 52-yard run against the Saints. Just pretend it didn't happen for a second.
Okay.
Yards per carry without that 52-yard run is 3.6 yards per carry for the Cardinals so far this year. Just so you know, last year, yards per carry, the Arizona Cardinals were second in the NFL at 5.3 yards per carry for the season. I'm telling you, this is everything. And I'm not, in the last segment, we were a little rushed. I don't want to minimize the Marvin Harrison Jr. thing. It's important to get him involved. He's a supposedly a generational talent. We haven't seen it yet, but the talent certainly is there. The physical ability is there. But you got to start with this. This is your base. This is your
bread and butter.
This is your bread and butter. And to the point where I'm glad you asked Coach Gannon, because if you didn't, I was gonna.
Are there any changes coming on the offensive line?
And he said right now, no.
Right now, no.
But I'm telling you, that is something I think, and I think you think the same thing, that is something to keep an eye on at right tackle. And that is something to keep an eye on right guard when it comes to those 2 spots, and if they can't get this run game going.
Yeah, there's the penalty issues at all. The offensive line has 6 holding penalties in 2 games. I thank our friend Howard Bolzer for that little note that he sent us. O-line has 6 holding penalties in 2 games. So that's something you want to clean up. You want to get that taken care of. You want to be better. But the inability to run the football, you do. I start to think about that. Like, okay, if Will Hernandez is ready, does he play? What can you do to shake that up a little bit? You cannot survive without a ground game in this league. You have to be able to run the ball and run it effectively. And, when you run the ball for 1 yard, you run the ball for 2 yards, now you're in 2nd and long and 3rd and long. It leads to a miserable offense. It leads to an offense that you're not very excited about. I mean, let's remember the first points they scored in that game yesterday were the defense. The defense got the points for them. So, the offense did not do a very good job yesterday, and a lot of that goes with the fact that they weren't able to run the ball effectively.
Yeah, the Will Hernandez thing especially is the one that stands out to me. And again, anybody who's listened to our show for a measure of time knows that we will reference PFF, but we also don't make it sound like it's the only thing that matters. So I'm just going to bring this up as kind of a reference point. Pro Football Focus's offensive rankings for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Isaiah Adams was the lowest ranked offensive players in week 1 and week 2 for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, again, that is not the end all be all. That's not the only arbiter here. And it's certainly, when they're watching tape, it's up to them to make the decisions themselves. But using that as sort of a guide or a little bit of a guide, it just makes you wonder what the timeline, and specifically why Will Hernandez was not put on the PUP list to start the season to make sure he'd be available in these first 4 weeks. He's available. Now, when he gets healthy, I don't know, but I can't help but looking at that and wondering how closely we should be paying attention to that.
I know I asked about if Will was close. I don't remember what Gannon said on that, but then I asked.
Said he's doing well. He just kind of gave a generic he's doing well sort of answer. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if he's close to being ready. We'll try to find out more later. But I don't think it's going to be that long, for him to get ready and play. Maybe I'm wrong there, but that's an option, right? You want to give yourself options with the running game, because every time you hand the ball off, you get negative plays or no yards at the line of scrimmage. You gain for 0 yard, a gain for 1 yard. Just putting yourself in a hole. You want to be able to run the ball a little bit stronger, a little bit better, and haven't been able to do that. Now, Benson only getting 3 carries yesterday. I know he caught some balls out of the backfield, but I want to get those guys touches. I want to get those guys as many touches as possible. They throw the ball to the running backs, but I do think that their touches have to go up.
Well, again, to your point, too, they ran, 44 plays yesterday? I mean, that's just not a lot to work with.
No.
In terms
Carolina ran 78, I think.
77, I think, 77, 78. Yeah. I mean, it's if we're going to sit here and say this guy needs the ball more, yep. That guy needs the ball more, yep. You just go right on down the board and say yep to almost all of them because you have to run more than 48 plays,
Trey McBride's got to get the most. I mean, as far as like targets in the passing game. But as far as touches, it should be your running back. It should be James Conner. James Conner should have the most touches every single week because it's the combination of running and then catching the ball. So he should have the most touches. That shouldn't be that close, to be honest with you. And then you get the ball to McBride, and then you figure out how to get Benson more involved. And I'm okay with the secondary receivers, Wilson, Dortch, Zay Jones, not having an impact. I'm okay with that as long as everything else is working properly.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.